We're going to go ahead and get started today because I know we have a lot to share. So, thank you again for joining us for our National AI Literacy Day Professional Development webinar series. This is our second live webinar of the day, and we're very excited to have our student panel on the screen here. A really quick introduction just from the National AI Literacy Day team. I'm Andrea Claver, Project Manager for the EdSafe AI Alliance. We are one of the steering committee members for National AI Literacy Day alongside AI EDU, the Tech Interactive, and Common Sense Media. We also want to extend a thank you to our corporate sponsors. Without these organizations, we would not be able to have the event we are having today, and they are what helped to make this such an impactful day. And without further ado, we are going to introduce our student voices on AI, National AI Literacy Day Town Hall. So I'm going to stop sharing here and pass it on over to the team.
Thank you so much for that introduction. And we're so excited to be here as well. My name is Amia, and I'm a junior at Ridge High School in Basking Ridge, New Jersey right now. And I'm with a group of students who are from all ages, all the way from third, fourth, fifth grade up until 12th grade. So we are trying to give you guys as educators the widest range of perspectives from students because a lot of the times teachers don't really get to experience that side of what they can do to improve education because after all, students are the purpose of education, and it's for us that you are trying to make education a better place. And so, with that, I want to start a little bit by talking about what Students for Innovation is, because that's the organization that all of us here today are a part of. And so, Students for Innovation is an organization where we create a platform for students from around the country and even around the world to talk about what they want to see in the classroom. So, it started with a lot of talking about bringing AI into the classroom. And that's specifically what we're going to be talking a lot about today in honor of National AI Literacy Day. But it's grown into even more about just bringing innovation into the classroom because AI is just that, taking that first step to actually allowing students to innovate and be creative thinkers using the tools that they're given. And so I am so excited to introduce all of these students that are here with me today. So maybe we could just go around really quickly and have each student introduce themselves before we really get started. So, Sierra, do you want to start?
Yeah, sure. My name's Sarah. I'm in eighth grade and I live in Austin, Texas, and I go to Lake Travis Middle School.
Caesar?
I'm Caesar. I'm a senior at Mater Brickell in Miami, Florida, and I'm 17 years old.
Ocean?
My name is Ocean. Live in New York and I'm in fourth grade.
Zuri?
My name is Zuri. In fourth grade. I'm in fourth grade, and I'm 9 years old, and I live in New
And
York.
Mohammed?
Yeah, I live in New York. I study in seventh grade and I am 12 years old.
Awesome. So let's get started. So first, I want to start by asking the question to these students. For you and all of the experiences that you've had, do you think using AI is cheating? And Ocean, why don't you answer this question first?
I think AI is cheating if you use it to cheat. If you use it to write you an essay or do all your math homework, then that's cheating. But if you use it to help you on your work that you're having trouble with or give you something harder because it's too easy, then I don't.
I think you muted yourself halfway through that, just the
Oh,
last
yeah,
part.
sorry.
It's okay. Yeah, so I really do agree with Ocean. I think that it's a very difficult gray area for what is considered cheating and what is not considered cheating because AI has so many capabilities. But the thing is, it's not really just about AI. I mean, students have been cheating for many, many years, even in a traditional schooling system, even before Google and before any of these new technologies came into the classroom. And for example, what is the difference between Grammarly versus AI? Or what even is the difference between technology like that and a tutor? Because just like AI could complete an assignment for a student without the student doing any work, can't a tutor do the exact same thing, or even a parent or a friend? And then what about going from rephrasing one word to one sentence to one paragraph to then an entire section? Where do we draw that line for what cheating really is? But there's also another side of it where students can use things as from turning notes into flashcards and study guides to use it to study. And that's another side of AI where it really doesn't have an impact on academic integrity. So now, going back to the idea of cheating, a lot of educators that I've spoken to recently are really worried that cheating is on the rise because of AI. But the truth is, there is really no correlation between the advent of AI and cheating. Cheating rates have been high, they're already high, and they won't change or get larger because of AI. And there's a Stanford study that shows that even before AI came into classrooms or came into widespread use as it is today, cheating rates were exactly the same at around 60 to 65, 70%. And I know that's a really shocking amount because a lot of educators try to prevent cheating from happening in the classroom. But the truth is that cheating will not go away until we solve the problem of motivation in the classroom. And to solve that, we need to reassess the way that we test students and we assess students in today's classroom. So now I want to hand it over to Sierra for a little bit because her school has a really interesting experience and she lives in an area where they block everything. So she'll tell you a lot about it, but it's a very different perspective from a student like me or some of the other students we have here today that are trying to push boundaries where she is starting from square one when she's pushing boundaries. So Sierra, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Okay, great, thank you. So in my school, AI is completely banned, strictly prohibited. Nobody is allowed to use it ever. But most kids will still go home and use it anyway. I know a lot of kids that use it for cheating on their homework and just getting things done. And I know a lot of people, including myself, that like to use it as a studying tool. In fact, I literally used it last night to help me with my math homework. I really wish we learned how to use it responsibly in school so that I could be more prepared for my future. And I wish it was just brought more into the curriculum.
And I think that just goes to show us that the true problem in education isn't AI. It's not, these students are really wishing that they were taught to use AI responsibly in schools because then they would be using it to actually grow themselves and grow their thinking. And the problem is that there's no motivation to do the assignments. And so when cheating happens and educators believe that it's because of AI and AI allows students to cheat, the truth is, it's not AI that's allowing them to cheat. It's the fact that the students don't want to do the assignments. And that is the problem that we need to fix. And so when it comes to AI and involving AI in the classroom, how can we solve the problem that a lot of educators are facing? Well, the first thing is that there should never be a one size fits all type of policy when it comes to AI in the classroom. Even in one class with one teacher, AI should be used in different ways for different assignments because AI should be used in some sort of a balance with other tools so that students learn how to think as with using AI as a partner rather than overly relying on AI or not even learning how to be exposed and use that tool. Because right now in the real world, AI is huge and it's just not going to go away. So bringing that AI literacy into the classroom is so, so important because the purpose of school itself is to prepare students for that real world. And how can they be prepared without even having the experience of learning to use the tool? And so that's why it's just so, so important for students to become literate when they're using AI as high school students, as middle school students, even as elementary school students. And then going back to the way we assess students, it's extremely important to think about process over product Because as AI becomes a bigger and bigger part of students' learning, the goal of education is to improve students' thinking process, improve their creativity, and allow them to think deeper. And the progress in that comes from the process of them learning, not just that final essay that they're turning in. So why should we assess only that final essay that they're turning in that a tutor could have written for them, that a friend could have written for them, that yes, AI could have written for them, when we should instead assess that process, when we could look at the conversation logs that students are having with AI and looking at the different things they're learning by having this conversation and testing their thinking. Shouldn't that be the true measure of how much a student is learning? And so with that, I want to hand it over to Ocean for a little bit because he has an experience that's also very unique.
AI can help you if you're stuck. Like if you got a test and you got a bunch of the questions wrong and you didn't understand how to do, say, question three, you could go on to the AI and um, ask it like, I got this question wrong. Could you help me fix it and learn how to do it again and better? And it would give you little problems and little things that you could build on, and then you would be able to get that question right every time, even if you got it wrong the first time. AI can also challenge you if you went to a test and you got every single question right. Then you could go onto the AI and be like, this test was so easy. I got every question right. Can you give me some harder questions? Then it could give you something harder. So and then it would give you a question, you would answer it, and then you would get harder things, even if your teacher didn't give them to you. Worksheets and AI, worksheets, for one, they can't talk to you. They're just boring pieces of paper that you just write on and then turn it into your teacher and done. But AI, you can ask AI a question. If your teacher's helping someone else, you can't ask the worksheet what to do, but you can ask the AI and it will make you unstuck. We use AI image generators to bring out our imagination and creativity. It If you could make different pictures of frogs and things to make a book, you could also just make essays and things with pictures, and all of that is from your imagination, but you don't have to draw it. One of our two jobs in AI is being a DJ and remixing, because you have to always make sure that you mix what the AI gives you with your own mind so it's still your own work. You your second job is to be a detective, because AI isn't always right. It was not just made just like out of nowhere. People made it, and people are wrong sometimes too. So it also is not going to always be right, and it's going to have bias and misinformation. So you have to always be a detective and look out for that. AI is like a knife in the kitchen. It can be dangerous, but it can also help you make a delicious meal.
So before we go on, I think I want to go back to something Ocean said a little earlier because it really, really stuck with me. So when he was talking about how a worksheet can't talk to you, it's so boring, but then an AI is so fun and exciting. Just think about how this fourth grader is putting something so simply, where the fact that a student can learn the same skills and more with using something that they're excited to use, they're excited to learn with, compared to using a worksheet to learn something. And you can see the passion that all of these students have when they're talking about bringing AI in the classroom. And that's what's so important because passion is what allows every student to actually learn and grow and become better thinkers. And so with that, Mohammed, I know you have a very amazing story as well, so I'm going to hand it over to you. I think you're muted.
Thing. Yeah. Okay, so my name is Mohammed and I come from Pakistan in September 2025 and I don't speak much English and like I'm getting better more. And then about this device is too cool for me because when I come I didn't speak English and then my teachers need to say me in English. They can speak Urdu, so they speak me in English in this device and this device see me in Urdu, so it's too easy for me. And about school AI, this sometimes if I ask the question, this like AI give me a very hard words of English and then I go the settings, I change the language and then I come back, ask question again and then he translate me and then I listen and then I'm good.
Yeah, so just like Mohammed said, when a student doesn't even understand English, but they're thrown into a school where every single subject is taught in English, and he, as a student in maybe science class or math class, would be able to understand and learn so at a much higher level in a language that he understands compared to in English. So he should focus on learning English when he can focus on English only, but he still needs to grow his learning and test his limits in all of his other subjects. And so AI and tools like Pocket Talk and all of these other tools he's talking about are just so important and have helped him as a student grow so much.
And then like about this like helped me so much because if like I in science I am so bad, let's sing and then like I want something from this like notebook LM. I go to make a video, write what I need, and then I see the video in Urdu. And this was so cool because it's helped me so much about like my teacher is saying in class in microphone and I listen in the Urdu. That's why it's so cool for me. Oh, and then Canva. Canva is like I don't know about that. My teacher tell me if you want like Urdu, so you can go in the setting and you can change and I can see in the Urdu.
Every single one of these tools that Mohammed just talked about uses AI to make it a possibility for him to learn using his native language and also learn English eventually. And so AI is something that makes learning accessible. So we need to teach students how to be literate and use AI to help them in the ways that each one of them needs it, because AI can do something for every single student. As we can see from Mohammed, he was able to learn because of AI, and he wouldn't have been able to learn a lot like he has progressed in every single subject if he didn't have AI to help him. And now, Zuri, why don't you go ahead with your story?
I'm in the same grade as Ocean, but I didn't do AI in class. So I joined AI club with Miss Winnick. In AI club, we use AI picture generators called Padlet to make prompts of our pictures, but you have to be really realistic to get a good picture of yourself or of what you want.
Zuri, do you want to talk about what you were doing here?
Okay, this is where we had to identify bias in pictures that were up on the screen. There's a lot of different kinds of bias. There's gender, there's race, there's age, there's attire, and there's surroundings.
What about here? What were you doing?
This is where we had to use AI to check our friend's homework. My friend Caroline knew she got a question right when the AI checked it, but they said she got it wrong. So but she knew she got it right. So you can't always trust because AI isn't always correct.
And something else that's really important here is that you can use AI and AI literacy to teach students academic integrity. And academic integrity is something that is so, so important, and every educator wants students to know and understand and be aligned with. And so teaching students how to use AI also helps them understand that when they use AI, they have to cite their sources. And then they can use AI to help them with questions, but they need to be able to tell the teacher that they used AI in each one of those situations. And so educators should be open to allowing students to experiment, to give them that ability to develop that responsibility to be into academic, to have academic integrity on their own. Zuri, do you want to talk about this assignment that you had?
This is where we use Notebook LM so we could learn to learn about a topic. So in Notebook LM, you can learn about a topic. You can learn about a topic, and there's things you can do to learn about it on the side, and you can also ask the AI questions about it, so you can study for anything you need to study about a topic.
Yeah, so just like Zuri, even as a high schooler, I've used AI as a study tool in so many different ways. Even when it's not in the classroom, even when it's at home, I've used it to generate practice prompts and to help me prepare for all of my AP exams, because a lot of times it's hard to grade yourselves using the rubric that they give you. And so using AI to help grade my work to see where I stand and prepare while I'm preparing for the AP exam has been so helpful. And then the most important thing is, as we get further and further into a world with AI, what becomes more important is understanding everything that we learn and questioning and creating new ideas and innovation. And it's not just about memorization and regurgitating everything we learn onto a piece of paper. And so where AI comes in there is it becomes a really, really helpful tool to help you test your understanding and test your limits. Because no matter what, if you know how to use it correctly, you can keep pushing yourself to harder and harder topics, to harder places. And that will really help you understand truly what you're doing rather than just memorizing it for the test that you have the next day. And so students really need to learn how to use AI in this way rather than just a way to input something and output something and turn that output in. And so that's why teachers can't just shy away from using AI and teaching AI, because students need to learn how to do that. And so Zuri, I know you know a lot about these interesting terms. Do you want to talk a little bit about it?
Yes, thank you. So this is where we use anthropomorphizing and sycophantic. So anthropomorphizing means when people think AI is a friend when it really isn't. It's really just a computer that people made. And sycophantic means when AI is always agreeable. 'Cause when you want feedback from AI, it just keeps making you giving you saying, yes, this is so good, but you have to specifically say, I want feedback.
Awesome. Sierra, I think you had a story that was similar to this. Do you want to share that?
Yeah, there are certain apps that can, replicate a human being, and there are some people in my school, like friends and even some family, that have that have conversations with AI as if they're actual people and can form some really unhealthy attachments to them. So I just found that really weird, and I feel like we need to set a bit of a wall between real and AI, because forming any unnatural attachments is just, it should not be happening.
Exactly. And that's why it's so important to be taught that AI is a tool and a tool only while you're in schools, because otherwise, if it's just ignored, students don't really understand the true limits of what AI is, and they could run into very, very big mental health problems. So, Zuri, I know you've had a lot of experience with training AI models. Do you want to talk about what you were doing in each of these pictures?
Yep. So we used Code.org, QuickDraw, and Teach Machine to teach AI about things. Like in Code.org, we had to teach the AI about what are sea animals and what's garbage. But in code.org, their AI looks their AI looks their AI looks like a robot, but when it really isn't. And this is where we use quick draw, and it would give you something you have to draw. It would give you something you had to draw, and if you got it wrong, you go on to the next one. And there's 6 drawings in each round, and the ones you got you can press on it to see what your closest matches are, and what it actually looks like. And when you're done with a round, you can press up at the bottom to see how many drawings there actually are, and you can tap on a drawing to see how many people drew that specific thing. And this is where we use Teachable Machine. So you could use a picture of elephants and elephant stuffed animals. Like if you uploaded elephants on the picture, on a bunch of elephant pictures and a bunch of elephant stuffed animal pictures, and you teached it about that, and you upload it on the screen that they could know which one is which, and they said your elephant looks like an elephant stuffed animal, you would have to teach it more about the elephant and what the differences with what they look like. So Teachable Machine is kind of like comparing the pictures or things.
Awesome. And what about
This
vibe coding?
is Oh yeah, this is where we talked about vibe coding. Vibe coding is where AI can actually code for you, like how you have to code things by yourself. Instead, AI can actually code for you. Like this is where we made a game that this is where we had to make a game about a dinosaur, and that we have to answer questions about AI. And we also made another game about an animal. We had to answer questions about AI while a dinosaur ate food to fill its hunger. And if it's bad, if the game isn't working, we can just ask the AI to redo the code, and debug the code, and it'll work. But it's kind of bad because people who went to school for coding and to learn all this to code stuff might lose their job because AI knows how to code.
That's
So
very
it's
true,
also
but
kind of bad.
do you think that there's maybe a way to get around it and that even more jobs could be made, or do you think that's not possible?
I think it could be possible, but there's possibilities that it can't be possible.
Okay. All right, now I'm really, really excited to hand it over to Caesar because he has an experience that really no student that I know of has had before, and
Huh?
he uses AI in a way that is very exciting. So, Caesar, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Thank you. So at Mater Brickell, my school, we're a business and technology school. So one of the bigger problems that we were having at our school is implementing our business curriculum into the real world. So students were learning very theoretical concepts, but they weren't able to execute on them. So we started the Food Lab. The Food Lab is a student-run, student service store where the students manage every aspect of it. They manage the finances, they manage the operations, the marketing, and they also sell to the students on campus. So a couple months ago, we decided to integrate AI into our store to not only boost our profits, but also help employees get more certified. So one of the bigger problems that we were having is since we were getting students to work for us, students were not as experienced as an actual cashier or as an actual food worker. So they would forget temperatures, kitchen procedures. So I created a Food Lab ChatGPT. I tweaked the ChatGPT model, trained it to fit the Food Lab's operational procedures. And that way, when a student has a confusion, they could learn from that. Also, our current POS, which means points of sale system, Toast, was very confusing for the students. They didn't know what accounting meant or some of these terms here. So this dashboard that you're seeing right now was very confusing for a lot of students. So my solution to that was create our own native dashboard without relying on third-party apps that can reconcile everything together. It can put our sales, our inventory, and our marketing all in one place. That way, students aren't confused by using multiple tools that they might not need. To take it a step further, I applied everything that I learned at Matter Brickle and applied it into the real world by creating my own business. So just created my business in Agentic AI. What I do is automate finances and marketing for companies that don't have a tech team or want to improve their websites or want to improve their systems. And I take these AI systems and I also make them private. One of my vision statements is to make AI safe and ethical for all people. Now, moving to Reflect, AI, you have to treat AI more as your employee. So AI, um, don't let it do the thinking for you. You think, and then the AI just works for you. And also, AI, a lot of people get scared that it will take jobs from people, but it won't. In fact, it will allow people to get more into the human portion of the job. It will allow people to brainstorm more and think more with their peers and also how's it called? Get rid of those manual tasks that before. For example, I'm a graphic designer. With AI, I can get paperwork done, routine work done faster, so then I can just reconcile with my team and think more like a human instead of doing routine work all the time.
All right. Now, Sierra, I know you had something you wanted to talk about kind of related to that.
So you made a really good point how AI won't take future jobs and how it'll just help push them in the right direction. I work at a pizza shop and my job is to cut vegetables, and I just learned that Chipotle started using an AI to do just exactly that. So my current job in the future could potentially be eliminated. And I feel like this shows why it's so important that we learn about future jobs that might not be here and how to use AI so that we can be more prepared for our future and our careers that we might want to pursue.
So, going back to all of these stories that we've heard so far today, the purpose of school is supposed to be to prepare us for our future. And so, like Sierra just said, we need to be able to know and use all of these tools to have a future in jobs that might not exist today and that might only exist in the future. But to be able to do that, we need to be able to embrace the tools that all of us were talking about so far today. And in order to make everything accessible, every student deserves that chance to learn how to use these tools and think with them. And now, Ocean, I know you wanted to talk about this. We can't hear you. I don't know. It's you're not muted. Can anyone else hear him?
Can you hear him?
No, I can hear you, but I
No,
don't
it
hear
looks like
Ocean.
he's going to use Zuri's maybe.
Oh. No, they're listening me.
If he just put on Zuri's headset, she'll need to unmute.
Um,
There you go.
AI is an amazing tool, but you also need to go outside because if you're always inside on AI, then you're never gonna be able to be in the real world and you're gonna forget all about it.
So, also, another argument that I really need teachers to understand every time I speak to teachers is that no matter what happens, communication between the students and the teachers is the most important. Because if a student is very hesitant to use AI because the teacher just shies away from it and doesn't even explain their opinions about it, or not even just talk about how it should be used in each assignment, but not even mention it at all, then every student is going to be kind of walking on eggshells and just never know when they can use AI and when they can't. And it goes beyond even just AI. With every single assignment, students deserve to have theirs made and it was because that's how the students have motivation to actually complete that assignment. So as AI becomes more and more important in today's world, it's even more important that teachers are able to communicate with their students in that way. And so with that, I want to close out with talking about the Students for Innovation Virtual Summit that's coming up this year. And one of the sessions is actually hour-long session with Caesar and some of his friends who also go to his school. So if you thought that the business lab at his school was interesting, definitely come to his session. And a lot of the other students here today are also going to have their own sessions. I know Sierra will have one, and a lot of the younger elementary school students will be presenting together. So all you have to do is either scan this QR code or go to studentsforinnovation.org and you will have access to everything for free. You would just put your email in and you will get links to every single one of the sessions that we have. We'll have a few each day that week. And then you'll also have access to all of the virtual recordings after. And we are just looking for more educators to support because this summit is led by students and it's for educators. So the entire purpose is bringing all of these students from around the country and even around the world to talk about what they want to see in the classroom because what they want in the classroom applies to every classroom, no matter where you are. And then going off of that, Students for Innovation is an organization that's looking to grow still. So if you're an educator and you think that a change should be made at your own school, there is a way to start a chapter at your own school and advocate for change. There are so many leadership roles and opportunities as a student and as an educator. So if you're an educator that knows students who would want to be a part of the organization, definitely send us their contact information at our email that's going to be there later in the slides. But even if you want to send them the application for a future summit or to even join the organization, that would be amazing. And with that, if we have any questions, I know me and all of the students here love to take questions. You can put them in the chat. I'm not sure if anyone would be able to unmute. So if not, just in the chat. I know we have like a few more minutes here, so any questions we would love to answer.
It looks like we have one question in the Q&A asking if this is nationwide.
Yeah, it is. So it's actually more than even just nationwide. We've expanded to the whole world where we have a few students, one from India, one from Egypt, and we are getting more students involved. So because education is something that affects every student, no matter what part of the world they are from. And so it's not just something that is important here, it's important everywhere. Every student should have these opportunities. I see another question. How did you begin and manage working with the younger K through 5 students? So a lot of that was through Miss Alana Winnick, who I co-founded Students for Innovation with. At her school, they are very big on trying to push the boundaries and incorporating AI, but it's also still very back and forth. Some teachers are okay with it, some teachers aren't there yet. And so we've had a lot of her students start with the elementary process and they've been able to use AI in third and fourth grade and they've been able to share their experiences. So Ocean and Zuri, they're all from Miss Winnick's school, but we've also been able to speak to students in elementary schools that are in other regions. So I see a few more questions. One of them is, do you provide lessons and activities for support and training for schools? So we have done a few professional development sessions. A lot of them are virtual because we're all from different parts of the country and of the world. But we have had schools that reach out to us and we have a Zoom meeting with their teachers and we speak to them about similar things that we're speaking to everyone here today, but kind of tailored to specific schools. Um, I see a question that I want to open up to some of the other students here. For any student, if you could use AI in any way to change the world for good, what would you do? Do any of you guys want to answer that question? Maybe Caesar, do you want to start?
Sure, yeah. If I were to use AI to change the world, I would use it more in the in the law side of the world and in the managing side of businesses because I've seen from experience, especially working also as an accountant, that a lot of business owners stress themselves so much about legal documents or accounting documents. So they stress themselves about these smaller tasks, and that affects the businesses as a whole. So then when you got everyone stressing out, that affects the entire economy. So if AI can make the logistics of businesses much easier, the supply chain, the economy, inflation wouldn't be as bad because everyone would have a better time at managing a business, and they also be able to make more human connections. They'd be able to spend more time with talking to their clients or getting more clients, which not only increases revenue for the company, but it also impacts how they make a human connection with the world.
Yeah, and adding on to that, as the world gets more and more involved with AI, what becomes so much more important are the soft skills and communication as well. So having that one-on-one interaction with each of an individual's clients in the workforce is going to become more and more important. I see a question asking Caesar if you could share your information. So if you want to put that in the chat, go ahead.
Sure. I'll just probably send you my LinkedIn or just, yeah, I'll do that.
All right. Well, I don't see any other questions. So if that's it, thank you so much for having us. And hopefully everyone got something out of this. And we really, really hope you will join our summit in the next few weeks and benefit from that too.
Thank you so much to the entire team here for sharing your insights, seeing a lot of buzz in the chat about how great it is to hear from students specifically. I really enjoyed hearing from all of you at all different ages and your takes on AI. Before you exit the webinar, we'd love for you to answer the quick poll question on your screen. Just asking on a scale of 1 to 5, how did your knowledge of AI improve after listening to this session? And if you are interested in joining more AI Literacy Day sessions today, we've got our websites on the screen here. We're hosting a ton of sessions throughout the day, but there's also resources for the classroom or that you can do on your own on our website. And this webinar is being recorded and will be uploaded to our YouTube channel. So for those of you wanting to view it again or see some of those slides, it will be posted there probably early next week. Thank you all for attending.